Welcome to episode number 2 of the Sharpen Your Pencil podcast. I'm just going to jump straight into it today. So a big obsession of mine in my day-to-day working life is trying to streamline internal processes. What I mean by this is getting the same amount of work done in a lot less time with a lot less effort. If you speak to anyone I've worked with over the past 3 or 4 years, they will know a time, and if you're listening now, you know a time where I've been trying to make a do-it-all Excel spreadsheet within a click of a button. It can fully measure and price a project for me, and I can just go to sleep for the rest of the working day. But unfortunately, 100% of the time, this dream has not come true. So what I did one day, about 18 months ago, I broke down where I spend my most time when pricing upcoming construction projects. Now, a big proportion of my time was spent extracting the quantities from the drawings. So after scanning the internet, luckily, one day I stumbled across what is known as Kreo software. If you're not familiar with Kreo software is the biggest hidden gem as far as construction software goes, right? It is the most easy to use software in terms of extracting quantities from drawings. Now, if you're sat at home and you're still printing out drawings using a scale ruler, that's fine. Get yourself on a computer. It's so much easier. If you're already using a PDF viewer or another takeoff software, get yourself on Kreo. I cannot highlight enough how easier it has made my life. The amount of time that I save every single day by using Kreo is insane. So today we're joined by Maksim, who is the former CTO over at Kreo, who's going to highlight some of the key advantages of using Kreo on a day-to-day basis. One thing I just wanted to kind of understand first of all is kind of what was your job over at Kreo?
So from the very beginning, basically, I was a product manager. So basically, I was hired in Kreo as a product manager, and I was running the direction, which was building design automation and building design configuration. So basically, in Kreo, we did 2 main directions. We built products in 2 main directions. The first one, quantification and cost estimation, and then basically building design automation or building design configuration software products. Make sense?
Right with you.
So in the first situation, you measure stuff, you build cost plans and things like that. In the second case, you generate buildings, basically. You generate models of the buildings. So initially I was hired as a product manager, but then at some point I basically became CTO, and I was running Kreo software together with CEO of the Kreo, which is Magomed. And that's how it was,
Yeah, no, I literally use Kreo every day.
I heard from Andrew. Andrew told me that you are quite a super user in a way.
Literally every single day I'll log on and I'll be using Kreo for at least 2 or 3 hours a day, and it's definitely the best takeoff software I've come across. So I just use the 2D takeoff side of it. To be fair, it's the only thing that I need. I think I did opt in for the 3D ones, but that blew my mind.
Can you imagine that the first product we built in Kreo software was actually Kreo Plan, which is a 4D simulation scheduling planning software, and then basically we downgraded it to Beam Takeoff, which is just a 3D takeoff.
3D,
and then we just downgraded. In a way, downgraded. It from a product standpoint, it was like downgrade, but from a market standpoint, it was like a market in the mid.
So what was the idea behind starting Kreo? Like, where did it originate from?
Yeah, it's basically the Kreo was started by Magomed, and his original idea was actually to, he was involved in a couple of huge mining projects, and he was super upset how difficult it is to actually estimate the project. And basically he was super upset that it might take you like a couple of years just to estimate it, and then something will change and you just need to do it again and all this stuff. So basically, by his own experience, and when I met him, and I was doing all in automation type of stuff, and basically he just said literally like, go come work with me and you just will do whatever you like. And then I started basically doing automation, but actually the process of learning the cost estimation side of things and planning and scheduling and all of that, it actually was done. It was initiated by Magomed, so it was really cool journey. Sometimes
sounds good.
Yeah, sometimes I want to go back, especially like, like the best my time in Kreo was before I actually started leading the company. Because when you lead the company, it's not fun anymore. It is fun when you are product and you can kind of have fun and do a lot of research. Like research and development is a kind of paradise for me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. Because when you get to that higher level, you're basically managing people, and it becomes kind of less fun. You're less challenging of problems.
Yes.
You just become a manager, and it kind of does take the fun away. I
Yeah, and
agree with
also,
that completely.
it's not funny when you need to find money, and it's not funny that you need to, and like especially when it started as research and development, and then at some point it needs to be commercialized. Because like, you cannot do like R&D forever, meaning without earning money. And so when at some point it's actually there is a some level of fun when you need to commercialize your products, but it's also a lot of stress and responsibility, which is good and bad.
Yeah. So was it originally funded by investors at the first stage?
Yes, basically the Magomed, our CEO, and he is also our investor. Basically, he brought his own money and he started this company. Yeah, and then we didn't need to raise, so we started building products. We started earning some money. We were doing a lot of bespoke customization. So we kind of basically we were quite sufficient at some point, and then we just not the problem, but probably the unique thing was that the company was having like 3, 4, 5 different products simultaneously. And that was a very challenging part because you needed to run all of them and you needed to do well with customers with all of them. And like it was really, and the team was like 30, 40 people. It's a huge team if you do one product, but if you do like 4, 5, it's not a huge team. So it's like, so this part was a bit challenging. Yeah. So we decided.
So is that how many people you've got over at Kreo? You got 30 or 40 people?
Yeah, it was like that earlier. So now we basically what we decided to do, we kind of separated company into 3 different products. And kind of right now, they are all like, for example, PV Farm, which is I'm running at the moment. It's a completely outside of Kreo. So, but initially it was a part of Kreo. We just found a partner who actually bought this, and like we built a team together, and so we run it separately as a company now. And so in Kreo, now people like the team, which is basically run by Andrew, which is takeoff team, the current Kreo main product, and there is another product which is Schema, which is also become separate from Kreo. So basically, initially Kreo was a platform for a bunch of different products, and now it is a different companies with those products because it's just easier to manage and easier to to position yourself. Because like when people come and ask what kind of software do you have, and you start explaining all of these different products, and it's a lot of confusion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get that. So for anybody who might be listening to this kind of episode of the podcast and they haven't maybe used Kreo before, could you maybe just highlight some of the advantages and unique aspects that Kreo brings to a takeoff software?
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about takeoff software. So first of all, I think we really invested a lot in performance, and basically there are many different web products in the market at the moment, but web products with truly amazing performance, it's quite a rare thing in our current market. So that's first differentiation. The second one I would say is that I would say we have quite a fresh UI and user experience. It's like it's just a bit of fresh product for the quantity surveying and cost estimating, because like the right interface is like cost tags, and I'm like it's not a problem that they're old and stuff like that, but it's just good to have some fresh ideas and how measurements can work together with the cost report. So I also would say that we have quite an advanced automation. To be honest, I actually didn't see a company who actually build same advanced automation, especially from an AI standpoint. Again, it's AI is complicated, especially to actually to push it to production. But I think we did a good job with some functions of the platform. Yeah.
So I've noticed with Kreo, obviously it's a cloud-based software.
Yes.
Obviously, the advantage of that compared to a lot of the ones where you're downloading like Bluebeam, for example, obviously is the frequent updates. Like every like say when I first started using Kreo, where that was and where it is now is two completely different softwares. like the amount of amendments that get made, obviously for the better each time, it's just crazy. Like I'll have a thought thinking, God, it'd be good if it did that, and then next time I go on it, it'll be there, and I'll be like, they did that. do you know what I mean? It's nice. It's really good. But going back to the AI bit you said, so a lot of people won't be aware, and I think there's a ton of trades out there who would really benefit, especially from like the floor plan AI. To give kind of an example, I remember there was a big building of, I don't know, 120 apartments where I had to do the internal floor area, perimeter of the buildings, perimeter of the rooms, window openings, door openings, and within like a click of a button and a couple of seconds waiting, it was all done for me. And not only that, they'd differentiated the utility rooms from the bedrooms to the communal areas, all in different colours, and it saved me like a day's work. It absolutely mental. But I've never seen any other software that can do that ever.
Yeah, I think there are some competitors already who can do it. Will not pronounce their names here. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's actually, I would say, that's why we started. We always dreamed to build something which can recognize, or as we say, read PDFs, right? So, and that was probably the biggest wow effect function in the app. But actually, but actually, the problem we faced is that people just didn't trust it. You know what I mean? So, like, if you are a quantity surveyor or cost estimator, the most important thing you actually do, besides measurements, you also kind of tell your story of cost estimation of this particular building, right? And sometimes, in order to tell the story, you actually need to kind of experience actual measurements, like craft, you know what I mean? Basically, that's why we initial feedback when we launched our floor plan, basically recognition auto measure, so-called auto measure. We got like, we still spend a lot of time validating this, or sometimes those results are not 100% correct. So basically, people need to spend time to validate it, and so the reason, because of that feedback, we actually started shifting from the black box solution like auto measure towards like like a small tools which can help you like to measure let's say rooms or flats or like walls, because in that case you kind of save time on the actual measurements, but at the same time you have this opportunity to actually feel the model, feel the drawings.
Go through the processes of measuring it and noticing different aspects of what you're measuring. Yeah, I completely understand that.
So I think like that's we actually this is where the team mindset shifted. It's not the point to give people complete automation. First of all, it's not achievable. But even though it's more like giving the people a tool where they can actually build their stories and do their job and enjoy it. Have like joy of measuring, joy of engineering, joy of doing their job. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where we want to be.
So there'll never be a time where I go into Kreo, upload a drawing, close my eyes, and everything gets measured. That won't be a thing?
To be honest with you, it might be a thing for a very narrowed scope. Let's say if we will stick to, let's say, residential market, United Kingdom, right? It is possible. It is possible to train the model so it will be good enough to give you like 80, maybe 90% accuracy. And then to give you some good tools which will help you to validate and to find those 10% where it didn't work. You know what I mean? So there might be this situation, but it's just, I just don't think we will be there. It's just
No.
no. I don't think it's necessary. It's like I always love to. Can you imagine this? I always it makes me really. It's a fun situation. Can you imagine like people build BIM models, like 3D models, then they cut floor plans, print them into PDF, and then people measure shit based on those PDFs. So and they measure this, and all this information they measure, it's actually in the 3D model.
Yeah.
And it's like it's ridiculous. How,
yeah.
Like, there are basically a couple of ways to improve the industry in a way, and the one automation and advanced automation and some AI and stuff, right? But another way is actually to make the process more efficient, the value chain, to cut those corners and to make people work collaboratively on some things. No, I personally don't believe that we will be at the moment where we will extract from PDFs 100% accurate information, so people will not need to validate it. I think, yeah. So sorry about that, Joseph. Maybe
maybe one day. I'll still keep dreaming though. Don't worry.
Okay.
But yeah. So with that, I suppose because there's still a lot of people who are just using like the basic 2D like Revit and AutoCAD to do the drawings. So people are doing that. They're always going to have to merge it to a PDF and do that. But for the way you said it, where it's backwards, isn't it, to export it to PDF to measure it? It just seems like such a long-winded method. But I think in reality there are a lot of people who are putting the drawings together who don't go into that much detail and don't put it into the 3D, and obviously there's that limitation to it.
Yeah. And by the way, people who actually measure stuff in the 2D, they in a way they build their own model. That's the fun part, because like let's say if you are a cost estimator and you know that, I don't know, like there will be lintels, or like there will be something which is not in the drawing, you would still measure some kind of placeholders. And you will use this as a virtual object for actually measurements or for quantities you need to put in place. So in a way, what you're actually doing, you are designing model further. So, which is funny, right? Because there are floor plans which and they don't have all the necessary information. But when you do quantity takeoff or cost estimation, you actually know that there will be this, like section in your report. And so you will need to come up with something which doesn't exist in the model. And you will need to have some kind of, exchange. And then like you will use your windows to calculate lintels, or you will use like your, some other measurements to calculate some other things. Like, especially it's really funny, to observe different markets. Like for example, I really enjoy comparing UK and France, because like UK is the market where people start from big things, like like order of cost estimate, or like order of magnitude, and then like cost plan, formal cost plan 1, formal cost plan 2, and you see like as people, when people don't have details, they just basically make an assumptions, like x by square feet. That's an assumption. But when you see how French quantity surveyors work, they actually, they literally, if they need to calculate beams, they will not make assumption based on the square feet. They will actually draw beams in the model. And you're like, whoa, are you a structural engineer? No, but I know that there will be this amount of beams. So they still kind of try to get details. And, like in some situations, I think I personally prefer UK approach, but I can see that in some situations, like this kind of French approach, obviously I'm generalizing, right? So it's not that everybody in the UK does this, and, but it's just an insight.
No, I imagine that by the end of that, when the French start doing it, they'll have like almost like a mock-up structural drawing there. I mean, when I look at, like, say, because at the moment I'm involved in roofing, flat roofing specifically, so I look at a big like 2D plan of all these different roofs. I'm like, God. And then, but by the time I've annotated it, done all the different colours and line details, I can look at the drawing, all marked up, all nice, and I understand exactly what's going on, and it all just makes perfect sense. And that's because of Kreo, technically, because of any takeoff software, but it's because of Kreo. It just makes the process so much easier, especially when say your perimeter details. If you've done all your chase detail, your parapets, and you go to it, and there's a line missing, you're like, oh, I either missed that, or that could be a different detail. But it's just that visualization of understanding, everything. I just think it's meant. So going back to the very kind of early stages of Kreo, let's say you just finished developing what was the first stage of Kreo. I think you mentioned it was a step further than BIM, which scares me. How did you acquire your kind of first clients? Was it cold calls? Was it marketing? What was your approach to it all?
Yeah, that's a good question. And thank you the warm words about Kreo.
I love it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so it's a good question, and this actually transition happened quite organically, because we had this 3D takeoff or BIM takeoff tool, and we already started to gain people who actually saw some future in it. But they were always like saying, "Hey guys, but we need 2D. We need 2D. When will you build 2D? When you will add 2D?" Like they constantly were asking us about like what's about 2D. So basically, they helped us to make this transition. So just to give you some idea, when we actually decided to build a 2D takeoff tool and like PDF measurements and stuff, we already have like 50, 60 people who wanted to build it with us. So we kind of found a good company of professionals who kind of saw some future in the 3D, but they clearly knew that, like market is still in the 2D drawings and they needed this tool. And we started to work closely with them. We built our first hypothesis. We kind of did a lot of interviews, and they were our basement of our launch. So and then they helped us actually to move forward. So when we launched our product, like the first couple of weeks, we started getting first paying customers. And then at some point when we cultivated, not the right word, but basically when we kind of squeezed as much juice as possible from our relations that came from 3D world, we started to build some marketing. And we still, to be honest with you, like we still do a lot of testing. Like I'm currently involved like an advisor in Kreo, but I know that the team is still like we used advertising, like paid advertising, Google advertising. So we tried LinkedIn advertising. We tried inbound marketing. We wrote many articles. We did a lot of outreach and cold emails. Like, to be honest with you, like it's really hard to imagine what we didn't try. But like the things that works better, the things that work the best, in my opinion, in construction industry is referrals. So when you have clients, they introduce you to other clients. If they're happy with the product, if they're happy with our customer success process, after our customer support process, if they're being heard and their issues, addressed, so then they basically bring you new clients. That's the best way, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definition of organic growth. Yeah.
So,
no,
we still like, I would say, every product has basically 3 major phases. The first one, basically initial ideation and tests. The second one, product market fit. And then the third one, scaling. So we can definitely confirm with our takeoff tool, we are at scaling phase. So we saw the market, like immediately after we built it, we were getting people. It was a raw product back then. We had probably like 10 conversations with big companies who wanted to change cost tags. I even made a lot of jokes, like every big company wanted to change cost tags, but not many actually can do that. So but basically, like slowly and surely we build it up in a way that now we have like companies with 40, 50 users. and it works well. So
yeah,
I would say basically, just to summarize, to answer on your question is, we were lucky enough to have amazing partners and amazing people who were complaining about our product every day, like and they still stayed with us, and they helped us to build it. And so all credit to our customers, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think a lot of companies should, take back the feedback. But you did. It sounded like you acted upon it, which is somewhat rare. Other softwares kind of stay in that like grey kind of zone of it kind of works. It could be a lot better. They do nothing about it, but I still pay for it. but yeah, no, that's good. One thing that I think you've either just released or you might be releasing is off the measures in 2D.
Yeah.
You can set your heights, can't you? And you can almost create that 3D. That's mental. Because a lot of the time, when in like the day-to-day of actual construction on site, when you're building something, when you're in the process, so let's say brickwork package, superstructure, you're building it up, and before you know it, you've got some kind of detail where you go, oh God, that's 50 mil out. It's not to building regs, all this, da, 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 da. And I think once you've put it into Kreo and you've kind of elevated it, which you might not have depending on the project, and you can visualize your openings and where everything goes. It's just a massive help in it. I've not had the chance to use that, but I'm definitely getting that feature. Has it been released, that section of it?
Yeah, it's already there.
Yeah.
So
I need to go explore it.
The vision behind it is like, first of all, this is what Andrew is a basically a current product owner of Kreo, and he was always dreaming about. We wanted to build bridge from 3D to 2D, but what Andrew wanted always to build a bridge from 2D into 3D, and it's like it's connected to this to this idea of that, like, your floor plan might not have all the objects you want to quantify. And basically, you will start visualizing like certain things in a 3D. The idea that in the future you will be able, let's say if you have like 20 windows, and this is maybe a brick building, right? So you will have 20 lintels. So to build those relations in basically from things you don't have, things you have to things you don't have. You know what I mean? So that's a big topic, and this is just the beginning. I think. The long-term goal is to combine what we've built in a 3D takeoff tool and in the 2D, and to make one tool for pretty much whatever you have.
Because it would be good if you could set like the parameters of how you as a company build, and Kreo just understands that knowledge, can extract the raw data and just make it happen. Because like I know a lot of companies who are in the residential market, they'll always build the houses with the exact same details. They might be arranged differently, but their window heights are the same. Door openings obviously the same, but like their kind of construction methods and details always remain the same because it's what they know. They don't tend to change. People in construction are very stubborn. But if you could get to a point where you've got your set parameters and you input your drawing and you can visualize it, I know for a lot of companies that'd be a massive deal.
Yeah, well, you know what? We actually built one bespoke customization in that direction. So we actually built a bespoke customization for manufacturer from Germany. They had a factory they basically produced their own mass timber panels. And so what we did, we were uploading floor plans, recognizing them, and then we were trying to use their panel sizes and fit it on top on the floor plan, and to give you a floor plan based on their basically production line. And,
right, with you.
In that case, it might change slightly your floor plan because you might not have all the sizes and all the stuff. But actually, that was I think. At some point, because like especially those new technologies and like mass timber, like construction, new product in the construction in a way, right? So when people sell or build stuff with this, they usually need to work with existing floor plans, and so the idea was actually that we will grab existing floor plan as an input, and we will convert it into meaningful 3D model with respect to your production line and to your basically limitations. So yeah, that was the first time when we actually built something like that, and it's amazing. It's amazing product, and it just was built not for the mass market as a bespoke customization, but basically in a 2D. What we're trying to do today, we're trying to actually to build something more, for the mass market. Yeah.
So something more generalized. Yeah, I get you. So so you say unique customizations. Then is there other kind of things that you've achieved, what you maybe done for the companies that might not be available to like the mass market?
Yes. So at some because like that's what I said. At some point, like when we started and we built the first product for the UK market, it was called Kreo Design. When we introduced this product, we actually realized that it was a complete disaster. So we we had no knowledge of how the UK market operates. And so back then we were R&D team based in Belarus, and basically we just built product in a vacuum in a way, you know what I mean? So then when we introduced it to the market, we just, fucking hell. So then we realized, okay, so how can we learn about market? So one way to learn about market is to start talking with your customers or potential partners and ask them about lectures, ask them to help you to educate yourself and, all this type of stuff. Yeah. And then another thing is actually to start building some products, bespoke products for actually people who operate in those markets. So, and we were doing both directions simultaneously. So that's actually, and that's very efficient to learn about, at some point we started to get a good understanding of how UK operates, because we started to understand how cost consultancies work. We started to understand how all those relations with how the actual building is being built from the idea all the way to the, and it's different. It's not the same as what we knew back then. So yeah, that's why we built a bunch of bespoke customizations to learn the market. But I will not lie, we also needed money. So we, and in order to build product like Kreo, you need a couple of, basically you need to have a couple of years, at least 2-3 years. Ideally, if you have a good team, if you even if you understand the market, you still need a couple of years to build it. And at some point we just needed money, and we didn't have them from our kind of client base. So we built some bespoke customizations, got some money, so we survived as we could.
So when you've tried to get into how would I say it, the more countries kind of processes, what's been the most difficult transition in terms of a way a certain country might construct things, or maybe their methods? Has there ever been you better not say it's the UK, but has there ever been somebody you thought, God, that's different, that might even be unachievable because they do it that differently?
Basically European market was challenging. So again, because we started in the UK and we built our tool with the UK mindset, basically, NRM 1, NRM 2, those our Bibles. So we read them, from cover to cover, and basically European market was challenging, and also we were a bit lost when we started with US. So we US, they don't have quantity surveyors, for example, and they work a little bit different.
What does the US have in replacement of them?
No,
surely they have somebody who does the tasks.
They just have cost estimators. That's it.
Right.
So they basically don't. In UK you have more gradual, basically specialities, right? In the US it's more like a cost estimator, for example, and that's it. Yeah. That's quite interesting, right?
yeah. I had no idea. That's why I thought it'd be quite an interesting question to ask, kind of thing.
Yeah. So basically, that was a bit challenging. But then we were trying to. This is actually the challenge for the product. Let's say if you got some niche and you understand how this niche works, the real complexity is actually to build a product that will serve a bunch of different niches. Like a bunch of different markets. So we I would say that was a fun experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So how many live users do you have at the minute?
I mean, we at the moment, I think we have like 900s, maybe 800s, maybe 1,000 at the moment. I don't know. I didn't check how many of them are active, but basically, if we are talking about users who actually are our current paying customers, it's already close to the 1K. Yeah.
Right. So I would have thought it'd be way more than that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying that's a bad number. But I would have thought it'd be a load more.
Yeah, we come in there. We go in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's like in 5 years, for example? What's the number? What's the number you want to get to?
In 5 years, ideally, we would want to have, 20,000-30,000.
Yeah.
So that's
what do you know the do you know, say, like Costex or Bluebeam? What do you know how many users a software like that might currently have?
Yeah, I have some ideas. Bluebeam, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Costex. I actually don't know. I need to check. I don't remember, but way more. Costex and Bluebeam is the top top software for this. It's a winner in the market, in my opinion. Yeah. And they have not bad product, good product. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's a bit chunky. That's the word I'd use. It's a bit it just hasn't got as much of a flow as Kreo, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
From A to B, there's a few more steps you have to take.
Yeah. I know. It's not always, to be honest with you, can you imagine that, for example, we at Kreo, we don't have any salesperson at all.
Mm-hmm.
Zero sales. Right. So basically our product at the moment is completely self-service. So we look for people just jump in, trial, decision, that's it. So and obviously that was the whole idea. We wanted to have a easy to go, like easy to start tool, but we have a lot of plans on the future, how to scale more and how to sell more. So we'll see.
Yeah. So one thing that I'm asking every single company that comes onto the podcast is, where did you think of the name for the company? Where did that start?
Oh, it was really fun. Like I remember that we paid one marketing company and they gave us hundreds of options. And then we basically voted internally for the name. And so the Kreo was a winner. And so that's how we started.
What was the second name? What was the runner-up?
I don't remember any of them.
No, it's a good name. It's a strong name. So it's something I've been looking at is the names of companies, and I think there's five letters in the alphabet which aren't used a lot, and I think K is up there. It's like K, P, B, X, and Y or something. Yeah. So if your name starts with one of them letters, it's going to be way more memorable. Yeah. Like I personally don't know how I found out about Kreo. I genuinely don't know how I found it.
You don't remember?
I've got no idea. I just started using it. I think I went online. And throughout the different companies, I've always been keen on finding a good software. Like some have certain features, some don't. So I've always got the free trials, maybe subscribed or got the subscription. And I just went around a few, and I just ended up at Kreo, and I've literally just not looked back. But I genuinely don't. It must have been off Google, just searching through Google. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there any new kind of upcoming features you might be able to discuss? What you're working on? Some difference?
We actually, I will not, and I would actually refer, and this is what Andrew builds. Actually, we have our roadmap on the website, which is important because you can go there and you can participate. You can discuss, you can comment, you can actually send your requests. I think the team is doing an amazing job working with people, and they try their best to actually to have as much attention as possible to literally everyone. And then that's one of the goal internally we have is that as we get in more and more people, more and more clients, we don't want to lose even like 1 inch of that quality, how we work with people. So that's the main goal, basically. Yeah.
No,
there are some cool things. There are some cool things coming, especially in the AI terms, and also especially in the 3D direction. Yeah. So.
No, that's pretty good. I know there's a few softwares out there that specifically deal with like mechanical and electrical estimating. Yeah. Do you think there's any like specialist trades where you'd have to rule out Kreo in terms of extracting that data, or do you think it's for any trade, anyone in construction?
No, yeah, we like, to be honest with you, it's like at the moment it's more like we are quite generic, right? But basically we considering building some specifics for MEP or even like for civil works. Civil works are very new, right? You cannot simply just measure 2D polygons and understand the amount of dirt you need to move. So basically, we're constantly considering building some special things for special trades. It's just it's being driven by our customers, to be honest. So if we will start getting a lot of requests from MEP engineers, or like people who actually need to measure all those valves and pipes and all this stuff, right? So we will probably allocate time to build this stuff.
Yeah. One thing I'd love to see on Kreo is if you could import like a topographical survey of all the levels. You know they get a lot of softwares where you can measure the area and it'll give you the average level.
Yes.
I'd love to see that in Kreo. That's my request.
Okay, that's interesting.
There's a software called SiteWorks. It's SITEWORX. Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. If it could do something like that as well, if there's an extra feature, I'm sure that'd go off. To be fair.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I like it.
Yeah, I do. I've used tons of them. Maybe like 10 or 12 different software.
You're very advanced. Technology advanced guy. It looks like you tried a lot of different software products.
Yeah, I've tried them all. It doesn't mean I'm very good at them, but no, I have. Yeah, I'm very interested in it anyway. I always wish that I went down kind of like the software route or something, just maybe to put something together. That could do it all.
It's never late. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I'm too far down the quantity surveying rabbit hole now to return.
I'm not a software developer by training, so I actually graduated nuclear power stations construction. So I was working as a structural engineer, and I was working as a structural engineer for reinforced concrete structures back then. So that's where the passion for automation came from. Because like I was putting the structural rebars into concrete, drawing the stuff like every day. And then I just basically started to build some plugins, because I was doing this in AutoCAD and then later in Revit. So I started building some plugins, some tools that could help me to do stuff faster. So yeah, that's where my kind of journey started.
Yeah.
So, never late.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Have you heard of a software called ChalkString?
No.
So what ChalkString is, there is an element of takeoff in it. It's not worth even mentioning. But what ChalkString does, it's almost like a project management system. So when you first get your inquiry in, it goes onto ChalkString, and it manages it through to the purchase orders invoice to completion of the jobs. But there is the element of measuring and pricing within it. Do you think you'll ever explore a system like that, like a development like management system?
Yes, absolutely. So to be honest with you, we constantly thinking about how our 2D takeoff can evolve, right? So it can evolve horizontally, as you said, like we can get more clients, more market and stuff like that. But also it can evolve vertically, meaning towards project management, or like even bidding process. So yeah, we constantly on that challenge, like going vertically and horizontally.
Yeah.
So
There's so many avenues you can go down. Just when I'm talking now, I'm thinking of all these different, and it must be difficult because there is so many paths you could take.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a constant arguments in the office between what you should do and where you should go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always like, and also like it's like it's always like a challenge because like I personally love vertically integrated things in construction, and so I like products vertically integrated, and I like products that build close to the construction, because in my opinion this is where basically it's a downstream where you need to start. In my opinion, this is the where you need to start with the software development, because the whole point of the software that designs or do quantity estimation stuff is basically to, at the end of the day, to deliver a building, right? So that's the main purpose, to deliver something where people will live, or like some public stuff. Like basically, that's the whole purpose. This is why you actually don't want to start from a development upstream, because it's fun probably, but if you start close to the construction, you have this opportunity to build a proper vertical integration, and then your tool will be quite unique. But it's difficult to build such a great tool which will be available for the wider market. Usually when you do this vertical integration, you narrow your market a lot in order to be able to deliver. So, and that's how, for example, we built PV Farm. It's a very detailed and tool that has many things inside, but it's very narrow, utility scale solar PV farms. That's it. So we definitely consider many directions for takeoff.
Yeah. How do you? Is there someone who might make them decisions, some sole decisions, or is it more like a democracy, the discussions? Or
it's very similar to democracy, I would say.
No, I would have thought it might be.
And it's like sometimes it's like that's in the most cases team decides somehow. It's like, it's funny how it works, but actually it works from the customer's feedback, and then it goes into team's mind, and then having that feedback in mind and in front of them, they make decisions. Sometimes they're driven by business, obviously, and sometimes by customers, sometimes by technology. It's like it's actually a constant fight in between business, technology, and customer. Because obviously business wants to be successful, and then customers want to have whatever they want to have, right? And then technology limitations. You always have this challenge in between, like when you build some things, like, okay, will you build them in a way that they will hold for the next 5 years, or maybe you will, and it will take a lot of time to build those things. It's like, imagine thinking about like millions of customers when you just launch the product. So it's like, it's constantly those challenges, and but those decisions, this is what actually makes huge difference in between products that survived and those who didn't.
Thank you for listening to the second episode of the Sharpen Your Pencil podcast. One thing that I was going to do in the episode was input a few different clips showing the visual features of Kreo and what that looks like in the interface. And then I took a step back and thought, what's the best thing for you as a new user and what you can do? And that's simply going onto the Kreo website and sign up to a 1 month free trial of Kreo software. It's an easy thing to do. It's the first thing that I did, and I've used Kreo every single day since I did that. So yeah, go on the website, sign up for the trial, and enjoy using Kreo.